The stars had always watched humanity in silence. Across the galaxy, civilizations older and larger than Earth had observed humans for centuries, whispering in voices sharp as comets, voices that carried scorn and doubt. "Fragile," they said, "too weak to survive the void, too emotional to fight in the vastness of space, too small to leave a mark." And yet, humans persisted. They built, they dreamed, they explored, even under the weight of mockery. Commander Elias Voss stood on the observation deck of the starship Odyssey, staring into the infinite black. The void stretched endlessly, broken only by distant stars that glittered like distant fires. He thought about the words that had haunted humanity for generations, words spoken in alien languages across countless broadcasts, all meaning the same: humans were fragile, weak, unworthy. He clenched his fists. "We'll show them," he whispered, though his voice was drowned by the hum of the ship's engines. The Odyssey was not a warship, not yet, but it carried the seeds of something greater. It was humanity's eyes in the galaxy, exploring the outer reaches, charting star systems that no one had bothered to map. Its crew was small, 50 souls who had volunteered to sail into darkness, into the unknown, armed with nothing but hope and determination. Their faces were a mix of youth and age, of nervous excitement and hardened resolve. Every one of them had felt the sting of being underestimated. Every one of them had heard the words of derision from alien observers. Lieutenant Mara Shin, standing beside Elias, tapped the glass of the observation window lightly. "Do you think they ever imagined we'd make it this far?" she asked quietly. Her dark eyes reflected the distant starlight, wide with wonder and determination. Elias shook his head. "No," he said. "They never imagined humans could survive, even one step beyond our atmosphere. They forget we've survived worse than this. We've endured plagues, famine, wars, extinction attempts. And here we are, staring into the heart of the galaxy." Mara smiled faintly. "Fragile, huh?" she whispered. "I don't feel fragile." The galaxy had always been dangerous, even before humans had ventured beyond Earth. Meteor storms, deadly radiation, hostile environments. It had taken centuries for humans to even step confidently into orbit, let alone sail between the stars. But humans were persistent. They had learned to endure, to adapt, to turn their weaknesses into strengths. And yet the whispers of doubt followed them like shadows, stretching further than light itself. On the bridge, Communications Officer Jarek called out, "Commander, unidentified fleet detected at the edge of the Theta Expanse. Sensors show multiple. Ships approaching, size and technology unknown." Elias turned sharply. The Odyssey's sensors were primitive compared to the alien fleets they might encounter, yet they were enough to detect movements in nearby star systems. His heart quickened, not with fear, but with anticipation. This was the universe watching again, the galaxy testing humanity's limits. "Prepare for silent observation," Elias ordered. "No hails, no broadcasts. Let's see who thinks we are fragile this time." As the crew moved to their stations, tension and excitement mingled in the air. Some of the young officers looked nervous, their hands gripping consoles as though holding on to courage itself. Others, veterans of countless explorations, exuded calm, their faces etched with the understanding that the galaxy had always tested humanity, and humanity had always endured. Hours passed. The approaching fleet grew larger on the sensors, strange and alien shapes against the stars. Their technology shimmered in ways human engineers could not immediately comprehend, alien metals bending light and energy in impossible ways. Elias studied them, his mind racing. These were no simple explorers. They were observers, possibly scouts, maybe even invaders. And yet, for the first time, Elias felt something stir in him beyond caution. A flicker of defiance, of pride, of hope. "They think we are fragile," he said again, voice low but steady. "They think we will crumble. But we never do. We survive. We fight. We endure." Mara placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then let them watch," she said. "Let them see what humans are made of." The fleet drew closer. The stars seemed to bend around them, reflecting off their hulls, casting long shadows in the void. The aliens, if aliens they were, sent signals, probing messages in languages Elias could not decode, pulses of energy that tested the Odyssey's defenses. Yet humanity did not flinch. Humanity had learned to survive in harsh conditions, to innovate, to fight even when outnumbered, outgunned, or underestimated. Elias felt a surge of emotion. He thought about every human who had ever struggled to survive, every child born in famine, every scientist working late nights to make a difference, every soldier defending against impossible odds. Humanity was fragile in ways the galaxy did. Not understand, yes, fragile in heart, in hope, in emotion, but that was also their strength. Where other species relied only on technology or sheer size, humans relied on ingenuity, resilience, and spirit. "Engage stealth protocols," Elias ordered. The Odyssey hummed with hidden energy, slipping almost unseen into the shadows of the Theta expanse. Humanity would watch first, strike later. Patience was a weapon humans had learned to wield long before they had ever touched the stars. The alien fleet passed near the human position, their massive hulls gleaming, their engines pulsing with raw power. Sensors detected no weapons fire yet, but Elias could feel it. An unspoken challenge, a test of resolve. Humanity was being measured again, and for a moment, the Odyssey and its crew became the heartbeat of an entire species. Elias turned to his crew. "Remember this moment," he said. "We may be small, we may be underestimated, but never forget, we are human, and that is never weakness." Mara smiled, gripping the edge of her console. "Then let them see," she said. "Let them see everything we've learned, everything we've endured." As the alien fleet faded into the distance, unaware of the human vessel lurking in the darkness, a quiet determination settled over the Odyssey. Humanity was fragile only to those who had never understood the meaning of endurance, of struggle, of hope against impossible odds. The galaxy might whisper, might laugh, might mock, but humanity would not bend. Elias walked to the observation deck once more, staring at the endless black sprinkled with stars. Somewhere out there, beings older, larger, more advanced than humans had ever imagined were watching. They were whispering their doubts, just as they had for centuries, and humanity would answer them. Not with words, but with action, with resilience, with fire forged from centuries of struggle. "Let them call us fragile," Elias whispered. "Let them watch. One day, they will see. We are not fragile. We are unstoppable." As the Odyssey slipped further into the shadows, moving silently. Across the void, the crew felt it, the quiet hum of destiny. Humanity had stepped beyond its cradle. The whispers of fragility would not stop them. The galaxy would learn the truth. Humans were not weak. Humans survived, humans endured, and humans, when forced, could rise from the shadows to challenge even the mightiest of empires. And so, in the endless night of space, a small human ship sailed on, carrying the hope, the fire, and the unbreakable spirit of an entire species, ready to face the universe that had doubted them for too long. The galaxy had always underestimated humanity. Civilizations older than stars themselves had laughed at Earth's puny fleets, at the small outposts humans dared to call colonies, at the species that had barely left its cradle. "Fragile," they whispered, over their channels, over their glowing communication networks, as if the word itself could shrink humanity to dust. They did not see the truth. Humanity thrived in adversity. Humanity adapted. And now, hidden in the forgotten corners of space, humanity's true strength began to take form. In a cluster of uncharted systems, far beyond the maps of the galaxies. Empires, massive shipyards thrummed with life. These were no ordinary shipyards. They were the culmination of decades of human ingenuity, hidden deep in asteroid belts, behind gravity wells, beyond the reach of alien sensors. Here, enormous vessels, the beginnings of a war fleet, were being built in secret. Every hull, every engine, every weapon system carried the mark of human perseverance. Admiral Kayla Ryn walked through the command center of one of the largest shipyards. Her boots clicked softly against the reinforced metal floors as she watched engineers, technicians, and soldiers coordinate with precise efficiency. Every ship, every fighter, every soldier in this fleet represents our survival, she said, softly, almost to herself. Yet those around her heard her words and felt them like a spark in the dark. A young engineer, barely out of her first decade in service, approached Kayla nervously. "Admiral, how do we even think we can face them?" Her voice trembled. She had seen the reports, the images of alien warfleets that dwarfed anything humanity had ever built. Yet, in her eyes, there was also determination. The same quiet fire that had kept her awake through nights of endless calculations and assembly. Kayla placed a firm hand on her shoulder. "We don't face them with fear. We face them with courage. And with intelligence. They think size and history make them invincible. But humanity has something they will never understand. Heart, ingenuity, and the will to survive at any cost." Beyond the shipyards, fleets of frigates and corvettes moved in perfect coordination. Fighters were being tested in virtual combat zones, their maneuvers simulated against impossible odds. Every drill, every trial, every calculation was a rehearsal. For war, they had been told they could never fight. Yet the humans smiled, laughed, and trained harder. The whispers of fragility, the taunts of a galaxy that had dismissed them, only strengthened their resolve. In the orbital hangar of the mothership, Aegis, Commander Elias Voss watched a squadron of fighter pilots prepare for launch. Their suits gleamed under the artificial lights, each helmet reflecting the distant stars outside. Elias could see the mix of fear and excitement on their faces, the way every human being carried a lifetime of survival instincts in their eyes. "Remember," he said, voice steady, "they think we are fragile. They do not know we endure. They do not know we fight, even when hope is small." One of the young pilots, a woman named Lyra, grinned behind her visor. "Then let's remind them," she said. "They'll see." As the motherships were outfitted with weapons and defensive systems, smaller stealth vessels slipped out into the void, testing hyperdrives and sensors. Humanity was building not just a fleet, but a network of intelligence, an invisible web that stretched across the edges of known space. Every secret base, every hidden shipyard, every shadowed path through asteroid fields and gravity wells became part of a plan that the galaxy could not yet perceive. And all the while, whispers continued. Alien fleets moved lazily through known systems, sending patrols to the fringes, scanning for signs of humans. Reports trickled in to the empires that humans were scattered, fragile, and weak. "They have no war fleet," the aliens claimed. "They cannot fight. They are not a threat." They were wrong. Kayla Ryn stood on the observation deck of the central shipyard, staring out at the stars. "They do not see what we are building," she murmured. "They do not see the courage behind every beam of metal, every line of code, every heartbeat that keeps this fleet alive. One day, they will." In the training halls, humans drilled tirelessly. Soldiers learned zero-gravity combat. Engineers practiced repairs under pressure, and pilots raced through simulations that mimicked impossible scenarios. Each test was a lesson in survival. Each failure was a chance to learn. Humanity had long understood that to survive in a galaxy that doubted them, they could not rely solely on strength. They had to rely on adaptability, cunning, and unity. Elias visited the simulation room where pilots were practicing evasive maneuvers against enemy ships they had only studied in reports. The room was filled with holographic projections, star fields stretching infinitely, alien warships looming large in simulation. Pilots dove, rolled, and dodged attacks with precision, every movement honed through repetition. They were fragile, the galaxy had said. But the humans in the room moved like shadows of lightning, fast, clever, and unrelenting. Mara Shin, at Elias's side, watched the young pilots with pride. "They are ready," she said softly, "even if the galaxy does not believe it yet." Meanwhile, the fleet's strategic planners analyzed centuries of alien tactics. Every weakness, every pattern, every assumption the galaxy had made about humans was studied, mapped, and turned into opportunity. Humans had learned long ago that they could not always overpower their enemies. They had to outthink them. Strategy was as much a weapon as cannons or missiles. Late at night, Kayla walked among the crews resting in their quarters. She passed, bunk after bunk, seeing the faces of people who had chosen to dedicate their lives to a species that had been doubted for centuries. Many slept fitfully, haunted by dreams of alien fleets and the whispers of fragility, yet their chests rose with determination. Humanity was not fragile, not in spirit, not in heart, not in will. Elias returned to his quarters, staring at a small picture of Earth pinned above his desk. The blue oceans, green forests, and white clouds seemed distant now, yet he drew strength from it. Humanity had survived plagues, wars, and countless disasters on that fragile planet, and now they were ready to take their place among the stars. A warning came through the fleet's hidden channels. Reconnaissance reports had spotted alien scouts moving closer to the secret human systems. It was the first real sign that the galaxy had begun to notice. Yet there was no panic, only focus, only preparation. Humanity had waited patiently, hidden in the shadows, building a force that the galaxy could not even imagine. Admiral Kayla Rin addressed the assembled commanders. "They think they know us," she said. "They think we are fragile. They do not know we endure. They do not know we plan. They do not know what it means to fight not for conquest, but for survival. Let this fleet be the answer they cannot ignore." As the motherships glimmered in orbit, their hulls gleaming like steel against the starlight, humanity's Warfleet began to take shape. Each ship was a symbol of persistence, each fighter a spark of ingenuity, each soldier a testament to resilience. In the hidden depths of uncharted space, humans had forged a weapon the galaxy would remember, not through size or intimidation, but through heart, courage, and unbreakable spirit. The whispers of fragility would soon encounter reality. The galaxy had mocked humanity for centuries, yet it had never faced the full force of human determination. And when that moment came, the universe would learn a truth older than Earth itself. Humans were not fragile. Humans endured. Humans fought. And humans, when pushed to the edge, could rise from the shadows to challenge even the mightiest empires. The fleet waited in silent readiness. The crews felt it, a quiet hum of destiny, a pulse of inevitability. Humanity's moment in the stars was approaching. Soon the galaxy would see that every whispered doubt had been a lie, every insult had been a challenge, and every heartbeat, every mind, every hand working tirelessly in the shadows had built something stronger than any empire could have imagined. In the darkness, ships moved in perfect formation. Fighters zipped between motherships like silver, streaks of lightning. Engineers watched their systems, recalibrating, improving, preparing for the moment the galaxy would finally notice. Humanity was ready, not fragile, not weak, not a species to be dismissed. From the shadows of the cosmos, Humanity was emerging. And when they did, the galaxy would never forget the name of every human who had dared to build, to endure, and to rise. The darkness of space stretched endlessly, but humanity's fleet moved like a hidden pulse beneath the stars. For centuries, alien empires had dismissed humans as fragile, inconsequential, incapable of surviving beyond their small blue planet. Yet now, the galaxy would see something it had never imagined, a species that had endured, adapted, and built strength from every hardship. Commander Elias Voss stood on the bridge of the mothership Aegis, eyes fixed on the sensors that pulsed. With data. "They're here," he said, voice steady but filled with tension. The alien fleet, massive and overwhelming, had entered human-monitored space. They moved with confidence, their ships gleaming under distant starlight, perfectly organized, exuding power and arrogance. Admiral Kayla Ryn joined Elias on the bridge. Her gaze swept over the fleet displayed on the holomap. "They think they can intimidate us," she said quietly. "They think we are fragile. Let's show them how wrong they are." The alien commander's message arrived almost immediately, a broadcast filled with condescension and threats. "Surrender, humans! You cannot survive against us. Your species is weak, and your fleets are insignificant." Elias clenched his fists. "Tell them this," he said, voice calm but fierce. "We are not fragile." The fleet responded with silent determination. Fighters launched from the Aegis, small but swift, gliding through the shadows between motherships. Stealth frigates slipped into flanking positions, ready to strike where the aliens least expected. Every maneuver had been rehearsed countless times in simulation, every attack plan refined to perfection. Humans did not have the largest fleet nor the most overwhelming weapons, but they had something else: strategy, adaptability, and courage. As the alien ships approached, the humans could see the arrogance on their vessels. The aliens had faced many species before, all of whom had crumbled in fear or confusion. None had ever resisted with the heart and tenacity that humans possessed. Lieutenant Mara Shin piloted her fighter toward the front lines, feeling the adrenaline pulse in her veins. "Remember," she whispered to her squadron over the comms, "they think we are fragile. We are not. Fight smart. Fight together." Explosions suddenly lit the void as the first engagement began. Alien fighters struck at human scouts, testing their response. Mara's squadron dodged with precision, weaving through energy blasts that could tear ships apart. Humanity's pilots had trained for this moment, and their movements were fluid, instinctive, like a dance of survival. Elias watched from the bridge, pride swelling in his chest. He saw humans in every corner of the fleet moving with coordination, courage, and unbreakable will. The alien scouts were powerful, but they had underestimated the human capacity to adapt. Every attack met with a counterattack, every maneuver with an evasive strategy. On the Aegis, Admiral Ryn coordinated the fleet. "Target the lead cruiser, use precision strikes, don't waste energy on their smaller vessels yet." Her orders were crisp, each one carrying the weight of experience and belief. Humans did not panic. Humans did not retreat. They fought with intelligence, with unity, with heart. The alien fleet responded with shock. Their ships were larger, stronger, and built to crush lesser species, yet human fighters darted through them like shadows, hitting critical points with small but devastating precision. One by one, alien cruisers took damage, their confidence wavering as humans struck again and again in ways they had not predicted. Elias saw Mara's squadron engage a massive alien battleship. One of the pilots was hit, screaming over comms, but the others pressed on, shielding each other, attacking relentlessly. The human spirit was on full display, fragile in flesh perhaps, but unyielding in courage. As the battle continued, the human fleet began to surround key alien ships, exploiting. weaknesses that intelligence reports had carefully catalogued. Stealth frigates slipped past defenses, sabotaging engines and weapons. Fighters executed risky maneuvers, dodging beams and missiles to deliver precise strikes. The aliens had assumed that size and firepower were enough to dominate, but humanity's ingenuity proved them wrong. In the chaos, Elias remembered every whisper of doubt the galaxy had spoken about humans. Every insult, every claim of weakness, every dismissal of their potential, each one became fuel for the fleet's determination. Humanity was not fragile. Humanity was capable of brilliance, courage, and resilience, far beyond the understanding of those who had underestimated them. Admiral Rin's voice cut through the bridge's comms. "Push forward. No hesitation. Strike as one." The fleet responded in perfect harmony, every ship, every fighter, every gun working as if guided by a single heartbeat. Human ingenuity met alien arrogance, and the result was devastating. The alien commander had not expected humans to resist so effectively. Their broadcasts turned from confident threats to incredulous questions. How are they doing this? They cannot be so strong. Fragile species cannot survive this." Elias turned to Mara. "They thought they could intimidate us with power. They thought we would break. But this is who we are. This is humanity." The battle raged for hours, with human pilots and alien forces locked in a deadly dance. Motherships fired massive beams, fighters zipped through debris fields, and explosions lit the stars like fireworks. Humanity did not falter. They endured every strike, adapted to every tactic, and fought with a unity that alien fleets had never experienced. At one point, the alien flagship attempted a concentrated assault on the Aegis. Elias's heart pounded, but his mind was clear. Divert all power to shields. Prepare countermeasures. Focus fire on their engines. The crew moved with precision, their training and preparation paying off. Human ingenuity turned the alien strength into vulnerability. The flagship faltered, its attacks less coordinated, its confidence shaken. Mara's squadron moved in for the final strike. Each fighter navigated a gauntlet of fire and debris, weaving through chaos with deadly precision. One by one, the alien cruisers that had seemed invincible fell, disabled or destroyed, until the flagship itself shuddered under human assault. Finally, with a coordinated strike from the mothership and the fighters, the alien flagship erupted in a brilliant explosion, sending debris across the void. The remaining alien ships hesitated, their confidence shattered. For the first time, they faced a species that had fought back, that had refused to crumble, that had proven that fragility was a lie. Silence settled over the battlefield. Human ships drifted among the wreckage, battered but unbroken. Elias breathed deeply, feeling the weight of victory and the cost it had taken. Many of the pilots were lost, many ships damaged, but humanity had survived. Humanity had fought back against an enemy far stronger and had emerged triumphant. Admiral Rin addressed the surviving fleet. Her voice was steady, filled with pride and emotion. "They said we were fragile. They said we could not survive. But look at us now. We endure. We fight. We rise." Elias watched the stars through the observation window, the remnants of the alien fleet drifting silently. Humanity had faced the galaxy's doubts, its arrogance and its might, and had emerged victorious. For centuries, whispers had followed humans across the stars. Fragile, weak, incapable. Now those whispers would change. The galaxy would remember this day. Humanity had shown, not through words but through courage and ingenuity, that it could survive against overwhelming odds. It was more than survival. It was defiance, a statement that humans would no longer be underestimated, ignored, or dismissed. Mara landed her fighter aboard the Aegis, exhausted but triumphant. She removed her helmet and looked around at the faces of her fellow pilots, each marked by fatigue, fear, and pride. "We did it," she whispered. "We really did it." Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. "Yes," he said quietly, "but this is only the beginning. They will learn that humanity cannot be controlled, cannot be broken, and will never be forgotten." The survivors of the battle gathered on the deck of the mothership, looking out at the stars. The void was no longer silent. It carried the echoes of a species that had fought back, that had risen from fragility to strength, from whispers to defiance. Humanity had emerged from the shadows to claim its place among the stars, and from that day forward, wherever humans sailed, wherever colonies stood, and wherever the stars shone, the galaxy would remember one truth. Humans were not fragile. Humans endured. Humans fought, and humanity had only just begun to rise. The remnants of the alien fleet floated in stunned silence, struggling to comprehend what had just happened. A species they had called fragile had defied every expectation, surviving an engagement that should have obliterated them. But for humanity, the victory was only the beginning. Every soldier, every pilot, every engineer knew the galaxy would not forget their defiance, and neither would they. Commander Elias Voss stood on the bridge of the Aegis, eyes scanning the tactical displays. The battle had been won, but the war was far from over. The aliens would regroup, call reinforcements, and strike back harder than before. Humanity had survived the first test, but the next would demand everything. Admiral Kayla Rin addressed her commanders with calm authority. "We have proven ourselves," she said, her voice carrying over the comms. "But this is only the start. They will expect weakness. They will expect us to falter. We will give them neither." In the hangars, pilots prepared for the next sortie. Fighters were refueled and repaired, engines polished, weapons reloaded. Every human who had survived the first encounter understood that the coming battles would be even more dangerous. Yet there was no fear, only determination. Humanity had learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite it. Lieutenant Mara Shin checked her instruments and glanced at the young pilots under her command. "Listen," she said, voice steady. "They think they have seen our strength. They have not. They will underestimate us again, and that is when we strike." The pilots nodded, their faces tense but resolute. Each one carried the memory of comrades lost, of ships destroyed, but also of triumph against impossible odds. The alien fleet, regrouping beyond the edge of known space, had already begun deploying massive reinforcements. Monitors aboard the Aegis showed hundreds of new ships warping into position, their weapons glowing like the eyes of predators. They had learned that humanity could fight, but they had not yet learned that humans could. "Outthink them," Elias turned to his tactical officer. "We can't match their numbers directly," he said, "but we can use their assumptions against them. Predictability is their weakness. Adaptability is ours." Kayla Rin's voice cut in, firm and commanding. "Prepare the fleet for coordinated strikes. We will not meet them head-on. We will lead them into traps, exploit their rigid formations, and make every engagement count. Humanity survives by thinking, by adapting, by never giving up." The next days were a whirlwind of preparation. Engineers worked tirelessly to upgrade ships, improve shields, enhance weapons, and integrate new strategies. Pilots drilled maneuvers that pushed the limits of skill and endurance. Soldiers trained for boarding actions, for sabotage, for every scenario the galaxy could imagine. Humanity had become a living weapon, not through sheer size, but through intelligence, courage, and relentless persistence. When the alien fleet finally appeared again, it was even larger, its formations tighter, its movements more aggressive. But humanity was ready. Stealth frigates slipped through shadows of asteroids, scanning the enemy for weak points. Fighters streaked through unlit corridors of space, invisible until they struck. Every human ship was part of a plan, every maneuver calculated to exploit the enemy's arrogance. The first strike came at dawn, or rather, in the quiet expanse where stars barely pierced the darkness. Mara led her squadron through a narrow asteroid field, weaving between massive rocks that shielded them from enemy sensors. Their target was a critical supply cruiser, the heart of the alien reinforcement fleet. Mara's heart raced, but her mind was sharp. Each movement, each decision, was precise, practiced, and deadly. With coordinated precision, human fighters struck. Missiles tore through the alien cruiser's defenses, engines exploded, and the vessel erupted into a shower of debris. The explosion sent a wave through the alien formation, creating chaos where there had been strict order. For the first time, the alien fleet experienced unpredictability, a concept they had never truly faced. On the Aegis, Elias monitored the battle, issuing orders with calm authority. Target their command ships next. Exploit the confusion. Keep them off balance. The fleet responded with seamless efficiency, every pilot, every ship, every gun working as if guided by a single mind. Humanity's strength lay not in firepower alone, but in coordination, ingenuity, and relentless will. Admiral Rin's voice resonated through the comms. Push forward, strike where they least expect it. Every maneuver counts, every life counts. Humanity fights not for glory, but for survival. The aliens retaliated, unleashing volleys of energy that tore through space like lightning. Human ships were battered, shields strained, fighters destroyed. Yet they pressed on, adapting instantly, changing tactics mid-engagement, and exploiting every error the aliens made. They moved like a river cutting through rock, flexible, relentless, unstoppable. Mara's squadron faced a massive cruiser head-on. One of her pilots was hit, screaming over the comms, but the others pressed forward, covering each other, striking at weak points. The cruiser faltered, engines failing, systems shutting. Down! Humanity had learned long ago that survival was not about brute strength. It was about strategy, courage, and unity. Hours passed, and the tide of battle began to shift. Alien reinforcements were slowed, confused, and vulnerable. Humanity's tactics exploited every predictable movement, every assumption, every arrogance the aliens held. Ships that had seemed invincible fell one by one, crippled by precision strikes and clever maneuvers. Elias watched Mara return from her mission, her fighter scratched but intact. "Well done," he said quietly. "You've shown them what humanity can do when underestimated." Mara removed her helmet, exhaustion and pride etched on her face. "They thought they could intimidate us with numbers. They didn't see the strength behind our courage." On the Aegis, the fleet's engineers worked tirelessly, repairing damaged ships, rerouting power, and keeping the war effort alive. Humanity's ability to endure under pressure, to repair and adapt in the middle of battle, was unlike anything the aliens had ever faced. Where empires relied on massive infrastructure, humans relied on resourcefulness, ingenuity, and determination. As the alien flagship faltered, Admiral Rin issued the final command. "Concentrate fire, one decisive strike. End this now." Every human ship moved in perfect coordination, a swarm of courage and precision. Energy beams lanced through the void, striking the alien flagship's weak points. With a thunderous explosion, it shattered, sending shockwaves across the enemy formation. The surviving alien ships scattered, their confidence shattered. Humanity had turned the tide. Against overwhelming odds, they had not only survived, they had dominated. The whispers of fragility that had followed humans for centuries were silenced, replaced by awe, fear, and grudging respect. Elias turned to his crew, voice steady but full of emotion. They said we were fragile. They said we could not survive. But we did. We fought. We endured. And we will continue to rise. Mara stood beside him, watching the alien fleet retreat. This is just the beginning, she said. They will remember us now, but they will also fear us. And they should. Admiral Rin's eyes scanned the stars, a mix of relief and resolve in her gaze. Humanity has survived what no one believed we could. But the galaxy will not rest. And neither will we. We fight, we endure, and we rise stronger each time. In the silence after battle, the human fleet drifted among the stars, battered, but unbroken. The crews felt a quiet pride, a sense of destiny. Humanity had faced the galaxy's greatest doubt and had proven itself not fragile, not weak, but resilient, clever, and unyielding. From the shadows of the cosmos, humanity had emerged. Victorious, not through sheer force, but through intelligence, unity, and courage. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would not forget. Humans were a species forged by struggle, tempered by hardship, and capable of rising against the impossible. And as the stars glittered above the fleet, reflecting on battered hulls and weary faces, every human on board knew one truth. They had survived the unthinkable, and nothing in the galaxy could ever underestimate them again. Humanity had turned the tide. Humanity had risen, and the universe would remember. The galaxy was quiet in the aftermath, yet the silence was electric. Ships floated among the stars, battered but unbroken, reflecting the starlight like scars of courage. Humanity had faced the mightiest alien empires and survived. Not just survived, but triumphed. Across countless worlds, civilizations that had once whispered of human fragility now paused in disbelief. Humanity had proven that it was not weak. It was unstoppable. Commander Elias Voss walked the deck of the mothership Aegis, his boots echoing softly against the metal floors. The smell of burnt plasma and recycled air filled the corridors, reminders of the battle that had just ended. He paused at the observation window, staring at the stars scattered across the void. Somewhere out there, aliens of countless species were reeling from the defeat, trying to comprehend how such a small, underestimated species had fought back. With such precision and courage, Admiral Kayla Rin approached, her uniform streaked with dust and energy residue. "They will think twice before underestimating us again," she said softly, pride and relief in her voice. "We've shown them who we are. We've shown them humanity." Elias nodded. "Not just shown them," he said. "We've made them feel it. Our courage, our unity, our willingness to fight against impossible odds, that's something no one can erase." The surviving fleet gathered in orbit around a newly colonized star system. The sight of human ships, spread in perfect formation, glimmering against the darkness of space, was awe-inspiring. Fighters perched like silver swallows around massive motherships, ready, vigilant, prepared for anything the galaxy might throw at them next. Humanity had risen from obscurity to prominence, not through brute force alone, but through heart, ingenuity, and determination. In the hangars, pilots checked their ships, some silent, some sharing quiet laughter. Lieutenant Mara Shin removed her helmet and ran her hands through her hair, exhaustion etched into every line of her face. She looked at her squadron and smiled. "We survived," she whispered, almost to herself. "We really survived." One of the youngest pilots, barely out of training, spoke up, voice trembling with awe. "I never thought we'd make it through the first battle, but we did. We actually did." Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. "And we'll keep making it. Humanity has a way of surviving when no one believes it can. That is our greatest strength." Across the fleet, engineers worked tirelessly to repair ships damaged in the battle, recalibrate weapons, and prepare for the unknown. Humanity had proven it could endure combat, adapt under pressure, and rise stronger than before. Every ship repaired, every system reactivated, was a statement to the galaxy. Humanity would not stop. Humanity would not bow. Humanity would endure. Meanwhile, across distant star systems, alien empires were in turmoil. Their scouts and warships carried back stories of the humans' cunning, their coordination, and their courage. Leaders whispered, in disbelief and fear, that perhaps the species they had dismissed as fragile was far stronger than any had imagined. Humanity's victory had not only shattered assumptions, it had rewritten the rules. Elias returned to the bridge of the Aegis, staring at the remnants of the alien fleet drifting silently into the void. He thought of every insult humanity had endured, every whisper of weakness, every dismissal across the stars. For centuries, humans had been underestimated, laughed at, and ignored. But humanity had endured. Humanity had fought. And now, humanity had emerged, not as a fragile species, but as a force that the galaxy would never forget. Admiral Rin joined him, her gaze steady on the distant stars. "They said we were fragile," she said, her voice carrying both triumph and sorrow for those lost. "They said we could not survive. But here we are, and we will continue to rise. Every system we protect, every ship we build, every human who dares to dream. That is our answer." Elias thought of the crew around. Him, of the engineers, pilots, and soldiers who had given everything to survive this first war. Each life lost, each scar gained, had contributed to something greater than any single human. A legacy of endurance, a testament to the strength of a species that refused to yield. Humanity's triumph was not just a military victory, it was proof that courage, heart, and unity could overcome even the most overwhelming odds. Mara Shin looked out from the fighter deck, her voice quiet but firm. "We'll keep moving forward," she said, "for everyone who came before us and everyone who will come after. Humanity survives no matter what." Elias nodded. "We fight, we endure, we rise," he repeated, the words becoming a mantra across the fleet. They were not just words. They were a promise, a declaration to the galaxy, and a vow to every human who had ever been told they were fragile. In the days that followed, humanity strengthened its presence in uncharted systems. New colonies were established, hidden bases reinforced, and fleets expanded. Humanity's engineers continued to innovate, turning every challenge into an opportunity. Every ship launched, every pilot trained, every soldier prepared, became a living symbol of resilience. Humanity had faced extinction-level threats and emerged stronger, sharper, more determined than ever. The galaxy began to notice. Messages arrived not of ridicule, but of caution. Observers whispered warnings to one another. The humans are different. The humans do not break. The humans endure. In every corner of the cosmos, aliens began to respect, fear, and, in some cases, admire. A species that had been underestimated for far too long, Admiral Rin addressed the assembled fleet once more. "Let this victory be a reminder," she said. "We are not fragile. We are not weak. We are humanity. And wherever we go, whatever challenges we face, we will rise. The galaxy will remember that today we chose not only to survive, but to fight, to endure, and to rise stronger than ever before." Elias stood beside her, feeling the weight of the moment. "We have shown the universe what humans are capable of," he said quietly, "and this is only the beginning. One day the stars themselves will know our name, not as fragile beings, but as survivors, as warriors, as a species that refuses to yield." The crews of the fleet looked out at the endless expanse of stars. Somewhere in the distant void, Alien scouts observed from the shadows, recording every human maneuver, every display of courage and skill. The galaxy had learned a lesson it could not ignore. Humans were not to be underestimated, ignored, or dismissed. The whispers of fragility had ended. In their place was awe, respect, and fear, and a knowledge that humanity would rise again, stronger each time, unstoppable and eternal. Mara Shin whispered to herself as she gazed at the stars, a soft smile forming on her lips. We are human, and that is enough. Elias Voss, standing on the bridge, felt the truth in her words resonate through him. Humanity had faced the impossible, had fought back from the shadows, and had claimed its place among the stars. They were fragile, perhaps, in body or in emotion, but their spirit was indestructible, and the galaxy would remember that spirit for centuries to come. From that day forward, whenever humans looked up at the night sky, the stars were no longer just distant lights. They were a reminder of endurance, courage, and triumph. Humanity had emerged from shadows, had fought, had risen, and nothing in the universe could ever take that away. The galaxy had doubted them. It had mocked them. It had whispered of fragility. And humanity had answered not with words, but with fire, courage, and unity. Humanity had emerged victorious, unbroken, and eternal. And as the mothership sailed silently through the cosmos, carrying the survivors of countless battles, one truth echoed across every human heart. They said we were too fragile, until humanity's Warfleet emerged from the shadows of the cosmos. The stars bore witness, and the galaxy would never forget.